Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we have ourselves a new round of my Ninjago Hot Takes series. This is just the series of videos where I ask you guys, the audience, to submit your own Ninjago hot takes, or spicy, controversial Ninjago opinions. And as per usual, we put up a community tab post that received over 1,000 submissions. There were a lot of submissions this time. I went through all of them and I chose a few to discuss for today's upload. But of course, before we get started, disclaimer. In today's video, we will be showcasing opinions from real people, and as a result, I will be including real usernames. And with that in mind, please be sure to not harass anyone whose name is featured in today's video. I understand that a lot of people will probably not agree with these opinions, and that's okay, you're not supposed to agree. These are Ninjago hot takes after all. So keep that in mind as we continue with today's upload. With that being said though, hope you guys enjoyed this round of Ninjago hot takes, and let's get to it. So for our first one here, I genuinely love them constantly adding new snake villains, especially since it really expanded out the Serpentine lore and made them more fleshed out than all of the other fictional races. So yeah, you hear a lot in the Ninjago community of people complaining that there are too many snake villains, which is why a take like this is always interesting to look at. And I can totally see where this opinion comes from, because in Ninjago, the Serpentine are just as important as the humans. And while yes, it might be repetitive to have a bunch of snake villains out there, it can also be seen as repetitive to have so many human villains as well. So like I said, this perspective has always been interesting to me. It is worth considering. Hot take, the NRG minifigures are so bad. There are only like 2 colors per minifigure, and the solid blue, red, and black don't work well. Zane's isn't terrible, but not only are the minifigures just ugly, they are not even close to being show accurate. Why people love them so much is beyond me. This is a hot take that I kind of share because I never really liked the NRG minifigures. I do have the full collection, but there are better NRG style figures out there for the ninja in my opinion. I understand why some Ninjago fans have attachments to them, but I never really cared for them even when I was younger watching Ninjago, so I agree with this take. But you do see a lot of Ninjago fans loving these figures, and these figures are very highly sought after, a lot of them being rather rare and quite expensive. Cole should have ended up with Nia. It was already shown that Cole was Nia's perfect match, and they would make a perfect power couple. It would also give room for Jay to date someone other than Nia. I'm not sure about you guys, but the idea of Jay dating someone else other than Nia, it just doesn't feel right for the character. I feel like Jay and Nia are probably one of Ninjago's strongest couples, only falling slightly behind Zane and Pixel, but still, Jay and Nia are pretty perfect for each other, I'd say. It would be pretty strange if Nia ended up with Cole after Ninjago Season 3, and I'm kind of happy that that did not happen. But like I said, hot takes are hot takes, opinions will be had. Here's another one about shipping. Hot take, Racer 7 and Lloyd should be together. I know a lot of people do ship them following Ninjago Prime Empire, but honestly, I don't really see it. But still, regarding Lloyd ships, the Lloyd and Racer 7 ship, or the Lloyd and Blazy H Speed ship, you hardly see support for that one, and as such, I decided to include this for today's video. Hot take, I love Quest for the Lost Powers. I think it's great that we've got the backstories of the ninja getting their powers back. I think it's better to have them not in the show, but in a canon Ninjago book, because in this form we can have darker stories. Like Zane dealing with being the Ice Emperor because the Lego company thinks that's too dark for the kids watching. I loved reading the Zane chapter, not all of the stories were great, really didn't like Kai's, but Jay's and Zane's were especially great. And yeah, if you guys have not read the Quest for the Lost Powers, this is a canon Ninjago story taking place after Ninjago crystallized, but I feel like a lot of Ninjago fans either don't like it or completely missed it just because it is a book. And I've always been a huge supporter of Ninjago books. I love Spinjitzu Brothers, I love the Garmadon comic, but despite that, a lot of people either don't like that important things are being discussed in books, or that they have to read a book at all. And I agree with this take. I thought this was a great way for Ninjago to reintroduce their powers, because how many times have we seen that play out in the show itself? Hot take, the ninja should have died in the merge, because it would give great development to Eren, with him trying to live up to the ninja's legacy while doubting himself, and trying to be a ninja with Sora. So for this hot take, imagine Dragons Rising but the ninja are actually dead. I already know that a lot of Ninjago fans would hate that idea, which is why I'm including this hot take. I already know that a lot of Ninjago fans would hate that idea. Imagine starting up this new Ninjago series and surprise, all of your favorite characters are dead, but check out these new characters. characters. Aren't they cool? I can see that not going over very well. I mean, sure, with Eren, he might become a little bit more independent, but we will probably see that in Dragon's Rising as it is. And while getting rid of the ninja completely at the start of Dragon's Rising probably would have gotten Eren to that point quicker, eventually he will get there, at least in my opinion. Hot take, personally, I am not a big fan of the dialogue in Dragon's Rising. While I love the Dragon's Rising story, the dialogue makes it harder to enjoy. An example being when Eren tells Sora that she is his BFF, his fam. Honey, nobody talks like this. The dialogue just doesn't feel like Ninjago's dialogue, if that makes any sense. I understand that kid show dialogue can be like this, but Ninjago never had this problem, and for the story that it's trying to tell, which is darker in nature, it feels jarring. I mean, I get where this comment is coming from, but at the same time, Eren and Sora, these two are kids, right? And I understand what Ninjago Dragon's Rising is trying to do. They are trying so hard to make their kid characters relate to the kids that are watching the show. This is just something that we are going to have to deal with and accept. Ninjago will probably never truly be for the older audience, as much as we might like to wish and pray. Ninjago at its core will always be a kid's show, so dialogue like this does make sense. But I can totally understand where this comment is coming from. I myself had some issues with Ninjago Dragon's Rising and some of the dialogue choices. Cole's true potential arc is the worst. Kai's pride, Jay trying to impress Nia, Zane's weirdness, all of this stuff we saw from the beginning, while Cole's daddy issues comes from nowhere. I thought this comment was interesting. I mean, sure, all of the other aspects of the other ninja, yes, like you said, they have been around since the beginning. But Cole, we never really understood what Cole was all about. The pilots more or less introduced him as your stereotypical strong leader with a sensitive, more fearful side from time to time. And you could argue in season 1 that fear is still there, but instead of Cole being scared of dragons, Cole is scared of what his father might say when he finds out the truth. I also don't mind Cole's family history seemingly coming out of nowhere either, because in season 1 we were still trying to find out who these characters were. Ninjago was still introducing these characters to us. So I feel like Cole's true potential arc does make sense when you think about it like that, but I guess I can understand where this comment is coming from. Hot take, Ninjago is a fake ninja show since it never feels like they are actually ninja, and I feel like they copy from TMNT. I am not a big Ninja Turtles guy personally, but I do see a lot of the similarities, and people have pointed them out before. Do I think that Ninjago copied Ninja Turtles? Probably not. In terms of Ninjago not feeling like your stereotypical ninja show, I mean, I get it. Ninjago is definitely a lot more flashy, so I can understand why some folks might be frustrated, especially if they watch other ninja shows, but to me, I never really did that, so Ninjago doesn't bother me in that sense. Hot take, in season 4, introducing the other elemental masters was a bad design choice. They could have been used as new villains / allies in future seasons, but they aren't. Some of them appear in Hunted and Crystallized, but that's it. The other elemental masters are wasted potential. So from a design perspective, I mean, I get it. I totally understand your frustrations here. Some of the elemental masters have fantastic designs that I would love to see more of in the Ninjago TV series, but at the end of the day, these characters were never supposed to be mainstays. They were supposed to be background characters appearing every so often, and that's exactly what they were used for. But I get it though, I would totally love to see more of Karloff, Nero, Griffin, Turner, the entire bunch. And it feels like the appearances that they did have were not enough. So I understand your frustrations, but I also understand what these characters were always supposed to be. Hot take, the animation is alright for its time, but the show in hindsight hasn't aged very well. Parts of the speed of the animation, specifically when characters are running or fighting, doesn't look very real. Not to mention that only the characters were made from Lego, as opposed to the Lego movie a few years later, everything in which was made from Lego. This show has truly broken boundaries, and I'm enjoying my second binging of the whole series, and intending to watch Dragon's Rising for the first time. So like the case with a lot of shows that came out a long time ago, some of the earlier animation definitely hasn't aged very well. But for Ninjago, while the original couple of seasons might be rather stiff and uninteresting sometimes, I find myself struggling to not enjoy watching it because I watched Ninjago back when it came out. But in the case of someone who went back to watch older Ninjago, I can see them complaining a lot about the animation not being as good as it is nowadays, because Ninjago's animation has undeniably improved. I also find this take interesting because they mention how in the Ninjago TV series, only the characters are made of Lego, and that's true. It's not like the Lego movie where literally everything is Lego, but I can see why it would bother some people. This is a Lego show after all, right? The Lego element is almost nowhere to be found. And I will admit, sometimes when I'm watching Ninjago, I oftentimes forget that I'm watching a Lego show technically. really, because it doesn't feel like Lego, and if there is a big fan of Lego out there, I can see them being kind of disappointed in this. Hot take, it was extremely unnecessary to bring up the topic that Jay was adopted because it ruined the perception of his parents, Ed and Edna. I disagree with this. I feel like there's nothing wrong with Jay being adopted, and I feel like Ed and Edna's perception, at least for me, only was increased positively, because they truly accepted him as their son. Family is what you make it, and I feel like Jay's family is a perfect and very wholesome example of this philosophy. I think Jay and Cole should have gotten together. Now this take I wanted to include because it is rather controversial, at least to some people. Now let me make it clear where I stand. I personally do not mind the Jay and Cole ship, otherwise known as Bruise. Like I've always said, ship whoever you want. It doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect my life at the end of the day. Do I think they should have gotten together though? Probably not. I don't think it makes much sense in the context of the Ninjago story for them to be together, but I don't mind it. It's a cute ship. I know to some people out there this would probably be the end of the world, and I feel like that's being a little bit too dramatic. And finally we have this one. Grandma Dob should have 6 arms. I disagree. Grandma Dob should have 8 arms. How about that? And with that being said, guys, that'll pretty much wrap it up for today's round of Ninjago hot takes. Thank you so very much for watching, and thank you to everyone who submitted hot takes. It's always fun to read through these and find interesting ones to talk about every time I do one of these videos. And if your hot take did not get selected for today's video, no need to worry, there's always next time. Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. Which hot take did you think was the spiciest or most controversial? And did you find yourself agreeing with any of these? Leave all your thoughts down below, and hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.